boy who was unvaccinated almost died from tetanus, and the hospital bills cost nearly $1 million. Let's see what the parents have to say.
My name is Erica, and my son almost died because he wasn't vaccinated. We live on a farm, and he was outside playing one day and cut his hand. We didn't think much of it, so we just stitched it up. A few days later, my son started crying and experienced muscle spasm and even clenching his jaw. Soon he was suffering back and muscle contractions throughout his whole body. Eventually he couldn't breathe, so he called emergency services and he was airlifted to a pediatric medical center. He spent 57 days in the hospital and then was transferred to a rehabilitation center for 17 days.
John Hopkins, a professor at Bloomberg School of Public Health, says hospitalization would almost certainly have been prevented if the patient had been vaccinated against tetanus. Most school-aged children have received 5 doses of tetanus vaccine, with each dose costing only $30. Why would parents not vaccinate their kids after seeing such intense, preventable illnesses like that? We have a clip from a parent that might help us understand.
My name is Amanda, and vaccines have ruined my children's lives. When my daughter was 17 months old, we took her into the doctor to be vaccinated because she hadn't been vaccinated yet. The doctor ordered that my daughter be put on an aggressive vaccine schedule to catch her up for her vaccines. That day, she received the MMR and the PDSL. They told us that she wouldn't be feeling very well because of how many vaccines she'd be taking. So we put her on a lot of Tylenol, right? That night, she developed an ear infection and a high fever. She kept clenching her jaw, and her muscles were spazzing everywhere, and she couldn't even walk when she got up. Our doctor wanted us to take her in months later to be revaccinated, but we didn't feel comfortable doing that, so we waited until she was 2 years old. We took her in at 2. We told the doctors about the changes we'd seen in our daughter, and we were very hesitant to further vaccinate. Our doctor told us that the changes were probably a coincidence, so we went ahead and vaccinated her again. That night, our daughter broke out into a very high fever. We gave her Tylenol, but again, that wasn't working. We brought her to the doctors and they said nothing was really wrong. So a month passed and it still continued. She no longer wanted to be touched in any way. She stopped talking and all forms of her communication just stopped. A year later, our daughter was diagnosed with severe autism spectrum disorder, and they rated her at being more severe than 62% of children diagnosed with this condition. When Chloe was 8, we made a diet change in hopes to help, and that slowly started working. 2 years after I had my daughter Chloe, I had my son Jacob, and I was scared to vaccinate him again, so I only gave him his regular 12-month baby shots. And again, he broke out with the flu. We couldn't break the flu for a week, but it got severe when he had a seizure. We took him into the doctors, and after all their medicine, his face was droopy. It was like his smile was only half working. It was terrifying. So the doctor suggested that he might have Bell's palsy, which was a huge concern for me. He had never had a single fever or had been sick a day in his life until he had been vaccinated. We had 2 kids after them, and we refused to vaccinate both of them. And they had 0 developmental delays or health problems of any kind. The major overall differences with my first 3 vaccinated children and my last 2 unvaccinated children are irrefutable. The only thing I would ever take back in life, if I could, is vaccinating my first 3 children.
This debate over vaccines has been affecting people of all ages all around the world. This has been an issue as far back as the 1800s when the smallpox epidemic arose. Let's look at what research has to say about the reliability of vaccines.
My name is Dr. Flavia Bustreo. I'm a former assistant director, general for family, women's and children's health, and I believe that it's important to be vaccinated. Polio was once America's most feared disease, causing death and paralysis across the country. But today, thanks to vaccination, there are no reports of polio in the United States. Vaccines will involve some discomfort and may cause pain, redness, or tenderness at the site of injection. But this is minimal compared to the pain, discomfort, and trauma of the diseases from vaccines prevent. Serious side effects following vaccination, such as severe allergic reactions, are very rare. The disease prevention benefits of getting vaccines are much greater than the possible side effects of almost all children. There is also no scientific evidence to link the MMR vaccine with autism or autistic disorders. This unfortunate rumor started with a single 1998 study, which was quickly found to be seriously flawed and was retracted by the journal that published it. Children are exposed to more antigens from a common cold than they are from vaccines. We are incredibly fortunate to live in an age that has recognized and successfully harnessed the power of vaccine. It blows my mind that 45% of surveyed Americans doubt the safety of vaccines. There's a reason that almost every doctor in America recommends vaccines. People just need to be educated about the facts.
Well, that wraps it up for tonight, folks. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below, and we'll see you next week for World News.